And man, been getting so many questions all day, as you can imagine. The prices started dropping yesterday and have just continued overnight. To be honest, I was hoping I'd wake up this morning and see things different, but boy, it was a lot worse this morning than I had imagined. What's going on, right? Why are the prices down? What does this mean? Is the game over? Are we out? Should everybody get out and just go to cash? Like, what are we trying to do, right? I've been answering emails, chatting, phone calls, texting all day long, and so I just want to drop a message for everybody right here, so everybody can watch in. I'm going to be looking at some notes on my computer, so I apologize if I'm kind of looking down a little bit. But first thing that I want to say is that there's not always a reason. So everybody always wants to know why. If you've watched my videos for any amount of time, whenever I talk about being excited, prices went up, hey, we made 20%, 30%, whatever, I always also say that a correction is probably going to come, and I always say that let's not get too excited on the gains because we don't want to get too depressed when the prices go back down. Okay, so we have to understand that nothing can go up in a straight line. So what happens is, hopefully when we're in a bull market, when prices are going up, they follow a normal trajectory path. And when they get too far off of that path, they're going to have to overcorrect too far. I always like to say that the market's kind of like 2 steps forward and 1 step back. And sometimes we don't take a step back after 2 steps. Sometimes we go 4 or 5 steps forward, and then we may have to go 2 or 3 steps back. So it's kind of like the further that we run and the faster, the farther back we're going to have to kind of retreat. And so that's what's kind of been happening. So, I've been talking a lot about it, that we're going to have this correction. It's been due because the market was going so fast. It had grown so quickly that we knew we were going to have to take a correction, take a little breather. And I think it was a couple of weeks ago now, when Bitcoin was around 9,000, I said, hey, I'm raising the buy up to a Bitcoin up to $25,000. I had talked about the big bankers conference that happened in New York, the consensus conference, and that it was way more bullish than I had imagined, in that we need to raise the buy up to price of Bitcoin for 25,000. Now, since then, I believe it was my last video update, I said that I wouldn't be surprised to see Bitcoin hit 12,000 before it were to go to 25,000, and that's because we need to take a breather. Now, to give you guys some numbers and some stats here, the old saying about you have to understand history to know where we're going in the future. And so any of you guys can do this, and I recommend that you all do this on your own. Go to coinmarketcap.com, look at all the listings of the coins, click on any coin that you want to see, and it's going to show you the chart, and it's going to show you how that coin has grown and progressed. And if you zoom in on that chart, you're going to see that it goes up and down, up and down. All right, and so you need to spend a little bit of time understanding the history so you can understand how this market works. So I knew that the market was going to be due for a correction because I understand the past, I understand history. Now, as I've said many times, I've seen my portfolio lose 30, 40, 50%. I've seen some of my positions lose almost 80%, and I've held on. Now, I know to hold on because I understand what's going on, and I know that it's going to come back. Now, at some point, it's going to be time to get out, but that time's not going to be here for quite a while. So I want to just give you guys a little history lesson, and I'm going to post these images. So right now, I'm looking at a chart. Unfortunately, I can't share my screen with you. I'm going to post these images after it's done so you can look at these and reference them on your own. But I just want to give you a couple key facts. So the market was $652 billion. That's the market. So I'm talking about Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, Ripple, everything. When you add them all up, it was $652 billion. Okay, that was on December 21st. Today, we woke up and it was at 422. That was a 35% drop. And I know that sounds drastic, and it is. 30% drop is huge, especially when we're talking $200 billion, right? But let's put this into perspective, okay? So first of all, to put this into perspective, the market dropped all the way back to where it was 12 days ago. 12 days ago. That's crazy, right? So if you would have bought your cryptos more than 12 days ago, you're still positive. It's not that bad. I mean, if you just bought it 2 or 3 days ago, of course it's down, you're freaking out, but it dropped all the way to where it was 12 days ago. I mean, come on, right? It is up 100% from where it was 30 days ago. So if you had bought in 30 days or more, you are still up double your money, 100% in a month. It's just unheard of. If you could make 20% in a year in any other investment, you would be doing amazing. If you could do that consistently, you would be on TV. It's that good. We're talking about 100% in a month. If you had bought into cryptos 60 days ago, you're up almost 200% at today's depressed prices. Now, it's already rebounded back massive. So I think it's already up 100 billion. So it's already coming back. There's massive support. Support means there's buyers ready to get in, right? So I want to put that into perspective, but let me just give you some more reference. So we dropped 35%. All right, let's look at when else we did that. So from May 24th to May 27th, we dropped 29%. So almost the same. So that's one. May 24th, this is only in the last 5 months, 6 months, okay? I'm not gonna go back for 2 years, just in the last 6 months. So that's 29% from May 24th to May 27th. Then the market went up 81%, an 81% climb to June 14th at 116 billion, and then dropped again 42%. So we had a 30% drop, now we have a 42% drop, that was July 16th. Then it went from 67 billion up to 178, a 165% climb, massive. And so when it goes up that high and that fast, we're gonna have to have a correction. So from September 2nd to September 15th, it dropped from 178 to 98. That was a 45% correction. So we had a 30%, a 42%, a 45% correction. So from September 15th to November 29th, that was 45 days. It went up 245%. 245% in 45 days is amazing. But when it runs up that high, it's going to have to correct. And so it corrected only a 15%. It just took a little breather. There was so much buyers there. November 30th, a 15% correction ran up to November 29th, 339 billion. That was another 250% return. And then it dropped December 10th, 20%. Then from December 10th, that's when things got crazy. From December 10th, at 363 billion, it went to 652 billion, so almost 100%. And then we had a 35% correction. So we had a 29%, 42%, 45%, 15%, 20%, and now 35%. So as you can see, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 corrections in 6 months. And the least one was 15%, the most one was 45%. So 35% is just right in line. That's just what's to be expected. And so obviously I have no crystal ball. I wish I did. It would make things so much easier for me. And I could have told you exactly when it was going to get down to this price, but I knew 12,000 was the point that we'd be looking to get down. And the reason why I know that is because you can look at the charts and you can see the retracement lines and you can see where the support is, where people will start buying back in. And so, like I said in the last video, I told you, I think it'll hit 12,000 before it hits 25,000. So I just want to let you guys know this is normal. This is how it works. Get used to it. This game is super volatile. What happens is, now if you're new to this, if you just got in the last 30 days, you might have sold. I hope you didn't. I hope you didn't sell a lot of your positions. People were panic selling like crazy this morning, and the market's already rebounded like 10, 15%. So you only lose when you sell. Now, at some point, like I said, you're going to have to know when to fold them. You're going to have to know, right? Like know when to walk away and know when to run, right? So you're going to have to know when. And as long as you're subscribed and you're paying attention, I'm going to keep you filled in on that. And we're going to be paying attention to those signs to know when we need to get out. Now, another thing that I want to say is, we've had these massive run-ups. And so what I always do is I always advise taking profits. So in the last 2 weeks, we've had 2 positions that have gone up over 400%. And what we did on both of those is I took 40% profit out, which allowed me to double my money. So if I put $1,000 in, I actually took $2,000 out. And now I keep 60% of my portfolio for free. That means I have 0 risk. So even if this thing went to 0, which it's not, but even if it went to 0, I've already got double my money out. and I have 60% of this for free. So those are the types of strategies that you need to employ. If you're paying attention, if you're subscribed, I'm letting you know when to do that. All right. So this is normal. It's to be expected. We knew that the market needed a breather, and it's good. It's good for the market. It's good for you and I because we can reacquire positions. I went shopping this morning, and hopefully you guys picked up some good ones too. But think of it like a rose bush, right? So like the roses get overgrown, and you have to prune them all the way down. It looks like you've destroyed the plant, but it grows back bigger and better. And so that's what happens every time we have this correction. It grows back. All right. So a couple other things that I want to talk about. So one, it's normal. Two, it was supposed to be expected. And like I said, it's not the time to panic yet. Now, there's a few things that are kind of making this a little bit worse than maybe it needed to be. I've been hearing tons of reports, and I've actually experienced it when Bitcoin dropped down to like 10, 11,000. I was surprised. I thought maybe we could see 8 or 9. I thought really 12 would hold up pretty good, which it has. But I tried to get in. I tried to get in at 11,000. I've tried to get in 12,000. I've even tried to get in at 13,000. And on Coinbase, you can't even buy right now. So I think the market would be recovering much faster. But Coinbase isn't even letting people buy the dips. I've heard lots of reports of Kraken doing the same thing. Gemini. I tried to get on GDAX and buy. Couldn't buy there as well. Coinbase is. They are being implicated in lots of market manipulation right now. As a matter of fact, what happened with this whole Bitcoin Cash fiasco a couple days ago, I'm not going to get into that, but there's actually several filings against Coinbase, class action lawsuits, SEC filings for market manipulation. The fact that when the prices go down, we can't buy back in. I mean, only the insiders are buying back in. I mean, that's just not acceptable. And so I believe this market wouldn't have gone down as far, as fast, and it would recover faster had us been able to get in and buy at these prices. So, you want to be able to take advantage of this. So one thing that I do is like on the exchange, I'll move money into USDT, which is basically the same as US dollars. It's pegged to the dollar. And so I can move to USDT and I can avoid the volatility. And that way, when it's time to go shopping like this morning, I can just start buying back in. Luckily, I had a couple Bitcoin worth of US dollars stored, and I was able to get in on some good deals. But I can't buy more Bitcoin. So that's one thing that's making it worse. The other thing is that we have so many new people into this market, and they don't have the benefit of hindsight, right? So they just get weak hands and they get scared and they, oh my gosh, it's all coming to an end. I lost 20%, and they sell at a loss. Don't do that. Don't sell at a loss. Now, I said that we know it's not over yet. We have a lot of room left to run, and I'm just going to touch on that real quickly. Before the end of the year, I'm going to be putting out a much bigger video of what to expect for 2018, and we're going to be looking at trends. Okay, so we're going to be following that. So I'm going to put that in another video. But just to kind of give you a heads up, right? We are just now starting to see the first little bit of like Wall Street money coming into the market, right? So we had on the 10th, we had the CBOE futures, and then on the 18th, we had the CME futures. Now, they're really throttled back. They're only doing about 10% of the total volume on Bitcoin. So they're barely even, I don't even know if they're even moving the market. It's just so tiny at this point. But look how much the market's gone up. I mean, from November 30th to December 20th, the market went up like 125%. It went up like almost $400 billion. 400 billion. So, and that's without that money. So, in 2018, we're going to start to see that institutional money come in. Again, I'm going to talk about this in a later video, but there's several things that haven't happened yet, and that's keeping them out. So I expect potentially up to $1 trillion to enter this market next year. So it hasn't even started yet. The best is ahead. I believe 2018 is going to be bigger than 2017. So stay tuned. Like I said, next week I'll drop a video on what to expect. And that's it. Leave me your comments. Give me a thumbs up if you like it. Subscribe so you can stay up to date with the forecast that I'm going to give for 2018. And also, like I said, the signs of when to get out. I'll post these diagrams that I have in the show notes. And that's it. So to your success, good investing. I'm out.